Our two very, very special guests are actually coming in from Canada as well. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and they're coming in from Alberta, Canada. They were on season 2 of NBC's World of Dance, and they were absolutely amazing. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, our very, very special guests will be Josh and Taylor. They will be coming in and they will be joining this live, and we'll be able to catch up with them. We'll be able to talk to them for a little bit, and really see what's going on in their lives and how did they get to where they are right now. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, put it in the comment box below. And without without any more further ado, let's get Josh on this call and let's catch up. Josh right now. He'll be here any minute. And again, if you guys have any questions at all, please put it in the comment section below. We're just waiting for Josh to get on this call. Josh, my man, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Man, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Are you in Canada right now, or are you at?
Yeah, I'm in Alberta.
You're in Alberta. I know. I know. Is Taylor in Alberta as well?
Yeah, yeah.
I looked around the house to see what Canadian memorabilia I got, and the only thing I got is like the world's smallest Canadian flag right here. The
Yeah.
smallest Canadian flag. So this is what we got. This is all I got on my end.
Canada, what?
There we go. There we go. How you been, man? How have things been for you now as of late?
Um, I've just been chilling. I've been in the house. I've been working out. I've been working on some videos. Um, Before the quarantine, I was in Brazil. We were doing some promo stuff for my pop group over there, and then we had to fly home. So here we are.
There we go. Well, a busy man. Of course, you've had so much success come your way for such a long time, and we're going to touch on exactly, how were you able to get to that? But first, I wanted to ask. So, as you mentioned, you came from Brazil. You were all around the world. Dance has so much travel in it, but now you have to stay at home here in Alberta, and it's for the better of our whole society. But what has been some of the main adjustments you've had to make, and how have you been able to make those adjustments?
Um, it's been actually not too bad for me because I'm usually a homebody, so I love
Okay.
to stay. And I have the privilege of my job kind of being over the internet, and so it's been easier for me to continue what I'm doing and continue my passion, which is dance and singing. And I've been playing guitar a lot, and yeah, my whole family has just been in the house, social distancing from everyone else, and we've all been chilling together.
Absolutely. But you've been able to keep it going because you have a huge following on social media. I believe you're in the millions right now on your Instagram, correct?
Yeah, I am.
And you've been able to build that. I know building social media, I mean, is a difficult job. You got to commit to it, especially, during times like this where people need support. They need to see, how people are doing. So for the people that are listening right now and who follow you and who have been following you for a while, what advice do you have for people now who are like you? They have to stay at home, but how do they keep going? How do they keep that momentum that you've been able to keep thus far?
I think you just got to love what you do. I said that in an interview a while ago. If you really do love what you do and you have a passion for it and you put your all into it and believe in it, then when you make your content and you put out your craft and show the world what you love, then people will catch on and people will love it. It doesn't matter if it's a bunch of people or it's just like a few people. If you will find those people that really really enjoy it, and that's what really matters. It doesn't matter the numbers. It matters the people that you can connect to and you can change life.
I don't think I could have said it better myself, honestly. I mean, I feel like when we talk to in workshops and classes, the idea of being able to connect to what you do, like that deep connection you have to whatever the art is what makes it your own. Like on top of your unbelievable musicality and your style and your dancing, what makes you you is the connection you have to your choreography, the connection you have to your pieces. And even if I were to try to copy your moves, I won't be able to do it just like you because I'm not you. I haven't lived through what you've lived through, correct?
Right.
Now, I had a quick question for you. And again, we know how you're this big superstar. Everyone knows you, but I wanted to know a little bit about you. And this is me personally. How did you start dancing? When did you start dancing? And why? Why was dance one of the main things you chose? I know you're working on music and a bunch of things, but what drew you to dance?
My whole family has always been into music. Like my grandfather was composer for a big band here in Alberta, and he taught music for years. And my aunts, all my aunts, they've had experience with music, and some of them are music teachers and all that. So we've always really been into the art behind music and such. So I was watching. I used to watch So You Think You Could Dance with my mom every night. And I remember I saw this guy. His name is Benji Schwimmer,
Oh yeah.
and me and my mom were always rooting for him. We really loved how he danced. There was something magical about how he brought the crowd in and stuff. So after that season that he was on, my mom put me into dance classes, and I was so young that I didn't even like realize what was going on.
Yeah.
So I went to take these dance classes, and it was all girls there. So the only guy. So I was so scared. And actually, a fun fact is I sat out the first like full month of those classes because I was scared.
Really.
Yeah.
Really? And then but you obviously kept going. I know our comment section right now, we've got, since you mentioned Brazil, there's Brazilian flags being thrown all over. We have Laura Silva of OFC commenting, you got GI Lima saying I love you, Josh. So you've obviously been able to garner so much support from these individuals. So when you had that obstacle early on, so you were in a dance class, you saw these girls dancing, you felt a little nervous, just like I did. I know growing up, I started, because of my mom, and there was still that hurdle that had to be for me to be able to be comfortable with expressing myself in that style. But you obviously were able to overcome that and grow into this global sensation that you are today. So how did you go from that one class where you're sitting out for that 1 month, and how did you push through those barriers and get to where you are today?
Um, I just, as soon as I started and I got up and actually started moving, I really, really loved it. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of just happened. I started to love what I did, and I never ever started because of like the followers or the fame or anything. That was social media, and dance was not even a thing back when I was starting. So I was really just doing it in my hometown, just really loving what I do. And we had a full hip hop studio that it was different because like all of Canada everywhere is like full training, all technique and everything, and I just really loved hip hop. So I went to this hip hop studio, and that just brought me even farther into loving it. And I continued to train in other styles, and then from there I went to LA to get even more training from all these people I looked up to. And then it kind of just blossomed into a career where I would post my videos and people started to watch.
Exactly. Well, you were sharing your love and people responded to it. Again, touching on what you said because you connected to it to such a level. So you mentioned hip hop. That, I obviously, both Gentlemen and myself watched you guys on World of Dance in season 2. You guys absolutely crushed it. You made all Canadians proud. I guarantee you that.
Oh, you
But you
guys too,
mentioned,
bro.
thank you.
You
Thank
guys
you.
got like, I don't know how you do like 1% of all of the stuff you guys do. Is crazy.
I appreciate it, but it's the same fundamentals. It's just working towards it the same way. It's putting in that time, that effort, and also finding that connection to it. Why do you do it? And then you have a chance of doing it at a high level. But you mentioned, so you started with hip hop, and hip hop was one of those things that really drew you early on. And when we saw obviously you and Taylor on World of Dance, we saw a lot of hip hop, but there was a lot of other styles there too. Can you
Mhm.
touch on, like, how did you grow through the different dance styles? And beyond that, what advice do you have for up and coming dancers who like a certain dance style, but they're looking over their shoulder and they're saying, well, there's something over here I like as well.
Mhm. I think honestly, my very favorite style in all of dance is that hip hop contemporary fusion, and that's
Yeah.
because I started as a full hip hop dancer. Like I was just this little boy in Alberta, Canada, where everybody's playing hockey, and I was like, you know what, hip hop's the coolest. I'm gonna go and do hip hop. So I took so many hip hop classes, and then as I went to all these competitions and all these judges were judging me and they would tell me things that I could do to improve. And they always say, you know what, take all these other styles, take it all. And I would never really believe it. I'd be like, yo, I like hip hop. Like, that's my thing. But one year I decided, you know what? I should just try it because I kind of have to. If I'm gonna call myself a dancer, like a professional
Yeah.
dancer, I really do have to touch into those other styles. And the first year I took other styles was very late into my dance career. I think I was around 13, um, maybe 13, maybe 14.
Okay.
And well, I've took other like small classes here and there, like at conventions and all of that, before that. But when I committed to like a full yearly class where I took every week was when I was 13 or 14, and I noticed that it helps so much. And there's something about when you take technique classes and you start to dive into modern and contemporary and ballet and all that, you start to get a deeper connection with dance, and you start to put your emotions behind it more, and it starts to make you feel more. And in hip hop you're always just like kind of showing off and you're like, yo, look at what I could do. But in these styles it's like driven to make someone feel something, and that was something super special for me. So me and Taylor both, um, she grew up when she was really little. She always took every technique ever. But
Okay.
I, uh, we thought, you know what, let's combine those when we go into World of Dance. Like especially our second, our duels round piece was more hip hop and contemporary fusion. It was to Fallen by Alicia Keys, so
With
slower
the
songs.
jacket. With the
Yeah, with the
jacket.
jacket, with the
Oh, dude.
jacket.
When you took that off, boom, so I was like, no. It
Yeah.
felt like you were wrapping the bow tie off the whole piece. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was super hard to figure out that part, to be
Yeah, no
honest.
kidding. No kidding. No kidding. But so you touched on it a little bit. You almost said a little bit from what I understood is you kind of owe it to yourself to try those styles because you never know what you're going to get out of them. You never know how are you going to be able to kind of use that tool in your little toolbox and be able to use it when you need it. And then on World of Dance, you guys used more hip hop and more. You guys were able to create your own little fusion and kind of create your own little style while doing that.
Correct.
And you mentioned Taylor, and I wanted to ask you because Gentleman and myself, we've been partners, for 7 years, and all we do is dance together. So we dance together all day, every day, and that's how we train. So when did you and Taylor start dancing together? How did you guys get together, and how did that turn to what it was on World of Dance, on NBC?
We met when I was probably around 11, maybe 10, I think. And that was the first time we ever met. And she was in this, she lives like 30 minutes away from me.
Okay.
But we both went to the same studio and we started training in the same, under the same mentors and such. And then we went into a group called NXG Company together. We were we took that to like World of Dance Hawaii, World of Dance Los Angeles. We competed with that company a lot, and I think when I was around 14, um, a guy by the name of Carlos Atienza,
Okay.
he put us together into a video called Bad Teacher, which ended up going pretty viral for the time. And basically, from that video on, we made another Bad Teacher video, and then um, we got an email. Actually, no. From there, we actually went into competitions together. We
Hey,
started doing lots more together, and then we got the email to come to audition for World of Dance, and then it's
there we
history.
go. That's it. I was thinking that, and this is a question for me. I got a question I'm going to ask from the fans, but it was a question for me because I saw the way you guys were dancing, and in my head, I'm like, there's no way they just got together and were able to muster up just the way you guys knew about the other person. Some of those moves, I mean, even as simple as just what you did with the jacket, but even more complex with the chair. Those are moves that would take a certain understanding of your partner and a certain communication on that stage that it's a little bit difficult to just sort of go, here we go. That's what it
Yeah.
is. So I had that was a personal question for me because I really wanted to know that, and I'm glad that was the answer. It makes me feel a little bit better. about where I'm at with Gentlemen. I have
Yeah.
a I have a question here from Cheyenne Rose. She's asking about, well, you mentioned it. So your favorite choreographer, I guess someone you look up to. You mentioned one individual, but especially as you were nearing toward the show, were you guys doing the choreography for those pieces? Did you have someone? And then where did that inspiration come from?
So Carlo Atienza, actually, the man who put us together, he was a huge part of the choreography for all of our pieces on the show. He helped us out with everything. He was a genius behind all the concepts and everything. But me and Taylor also had our input into the dances, but really it was like, I would say 80-20. He did like 80% of everything.
But then once you go on that stage, it turns into that 100 because now you've got to go ahead and execute. You've
Yeah,
got to go
it's
ahead
right.
and execute that, and that's also sometimes a challenge. Is for me, I know we when we did that first season, we did the very first season of World of Dance, and we did this move where I essentially sort of put her on my head and I like let go, and I had to find front without a spot. And it didn't work in any rehearsal, right? Like no,
Mhm.
not once. All the rehearsals, the producers were like, "Are you guys sure? You guys are sure you're doing this move, right? Like this is, you know what I mean?" And what happened was because it was so dark in there, when the lights go out, you're normally used to seeing a box, and it was a
Yeah.
circle. So I can't spot, she can't spot, and I had to hit that front off the drop. And luckily, on that one time where it was that show, that's what happened. I popped her off my
Yeah.
head, and we went into it. And once I saw JLo, I was like, Luca, you
Yeah.
did your job. You did what you needed to do. And
Yeah.
that's what it takes. In those moments, you got to deliver when it's time to deliver. And you guys did that on NBC's World of Dance. You guys absolutely smashed it. So could you tell us a little story, a little insight on something that happened, on that show, or maybe your favorite memory when you guys were on NBC, crushing it and representing Canada?
Let me think. I remember the first piece we did with the chair to Bellyache. I remember that was it was a lot of time put into that one. We made it and we were finishing it, but then when we made it to the show, we had other people look at it and stuff, and they were like, you need one more wow moment." So I was like, okay, all right. And then in the like right after I heard them say that, I just tried something and I went through the chair. I tried to go
Yep,
through the chair.
I remember.
And that they were like, they all stopped and they were like, that, we're doing that. And I was like, shit, like that's so hard.
That's tough.
And so when we were rehearsing that, and so many times that I had to do that, my whole body up my sides and on my chest and everything, it was bruised and scratched, and we went through so many costumes and stuff. It was so hard to pull that one thing off.
Exactly. And that's what it feels like, especially when you're doing a high stakes TV show. You sort of have to put it all on the line. You know what I mean? And you don't get a retake. So it's high risk, but it's also high reward. And we got a
Yes.
couple questions here. We've had questions flowing from the beginning, from how perfect you are, Josh, to how much they love those routines. The one question I wanted to ask was specifically in terms of when you guys were training, and this is, I believe, it's from Cha Chi. Oh, and I lost it. But it is essentially, how often do you train, and especially when you're gearing up for a huge competition like that, how often are you guys in the lab working on something?
Um, well, recently I've been my training has kind of taken a stop because of obviously the quarantine, and in the past few years I've been in the pop group, which that's where my training comes from, and I try to go to classes in LA. But growing up, I trained every year. We had yearly classes to go into competitions, and I was taking upwards of 15 of those every week, and it was like it managed to be like over 20 hours of dance every week. And
Yeah.
um, when it came to the showtime, we were every day in the studio for hours on end,
Yeah.
trying things and trying new stuff and trying to put the best that we could together and give it on the show.
And you guys absolutely did that. There's no doubt that you guys did that. And one thing you mentioned, and I am there's no way we're gonna do this whole conversation and not be able to talk about your music. Because I know that's something that's been coming up and that's a passion of yours. So if you want to touch on your music, I see it in the comments as well. They're asking about your music. Let us know a little bit about your music and give us a give us a little glimpse into what does Josh give when he does music and why.
Okay, let me just give me my whole spiel here.
Let's do
So
it.
if you
Let's
don't
do it.
know, if you don't know, I'm in a pop group called Now United. We are 15 different kids from 15 different countries.
Woo!
And um basically ever since I got that um opportunity, I've been training my voice and I've been training to become a singer and an all-rounded artist. I've been playing guitar more and more instruments and learning to produce and all that. So singing really is a big passion of mine. I've always wanted to become a singer. Like when people ask me who I looked up to, a lot of times when like my friends in dance would always say like choreographers and such, but I always was the one to say like big artists' names, like Chris Brown and Michael Jackson, and all the ones that could dance so well and still be vocally perfect. And it was just like it was amazing to me. So that was always my end goal. And in Now United, I'm mostly dance focused. So I'm the dance captain. I keep everybody in line when we have to go into a show and stuff. But I've
Yeah.
been getting my opportunities to start singing and getting my verses and such. And I've been working on putting out some covers and all that good.
Hey. Absolutely, man, and it's great to hear, just the transition, the people you look up to, and those really are true individuals who have been able to master the art of performing. Both as dancers, but also as vocalists and singers and songwriters and recording artists. And that's a huge thing to swallow. But I don't think there's any reason for anybody to doubt that you can get there, and that you're already moving your way there. And it's great to see. Again, me, listen, I've been a music fan since, as we all have. Dancers have a connection to music because that's our one medium. And I got an album that's on his way too. I mean, listen, it's not,
Hey.
yeah, yeah, you better believe it. Not so much in the vocaling realm, but definitely in the storytelling and the rap. And it's been a lot of fun. But obviously, looking across the table and seeing you be able to do it at such a high level and the support you've been able to generate with people really looking forward to you. And I got to call you out on that old school World of Dance hat you're wearing right now. That's the old
Yeah.
school champion? How did you get that hat? I want that hat. I'm a little bit jealous. I'm going to be honest with you. How did you get that hat, man?
So I mentioned an XG company a while ago in this interview, and basically we went to Los Angeles in 2015, and we ended up
Woo!
winning that World of Dance. So I got this hat.
Dude, it is absolutely amazing. Listen, I really want to thank you, Josh, for jumping on this live right now and for being able to share your insight in terms of how you get to the next level, how you've been coping with this quarantine, and what makes somebody so great at what they do, like you are. And of course, everybody who's watching right now is going to be excited to hear your music, hear your covers, and be able to share that part of your story with you as well. I know I will be absolutely intently listening to everything you got coming up and be supporting every step of the way. So I truly, truly appreciate you spending this time with me, and I wish you the best. And hopefully we can connect soon, my man. Hopefully we can connect soon.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much again for this opportunity, and it's been a wild time. Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Well, I'm gonna go let you go now, and we're gonna talk to your fantastic partner Taylor in just a minute.
Alrighty,
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
peace out.
Peace out, my man. Hey, everybody. We just finished the conversation there with Josh Beauchamp. What an amazing individual. What an amazing dancer and a talented artist. And beyond that, what a talented individual, in terms of the singing. I'm going to be very excited to look and see the new music he's putting out and the new dance choreography on that. Of course, please note that NBC's World of Dance is coming back again for season 4, and it's going to be happening on May 26th. And it's something I think we're all very, very excited about. And beyond that, please don't forget the World of Dance is going to be coming back in the Anaheim Blues Arena in Anaheim. And that's going to be July 11th, excuse me. and that's presented by Paul Mitchell. So don't forget about that. As we segue on to our next guest, Taylor, who is half of Josh and Taylor, and who absolutely crushed it on World of Dance there with Josh. We're waiting for her to connect. Please, guys, if you have any questions, put them down below. Hey, Taylor.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Yourself?
I'm doing good, thank you.
I got to ask you, are you at home? Are you in Alberta right now?
I'm in Alberta, chilling at home.
There we go. I'm in Toronto as well. So this is why it's the Canadian episode of World of Pass the Mic. I'm
Yup, love
excited.
it.
I got this. Where is it now? Hold on. This is all the Canadian memorabilia I got. This is it.
Hey,
100%.
love
It
it,
is.
love it.
It is. So talk to me. So how have you been, and what have you been up to during this quarantine and during this time you've been home at Alberta?
Well, I've obviously been home at chilling, trying to social distance, stay healthy. I'm really trying to still keep dancing.
Okay.
I've been actually training a lot right now over Skype in popping. And so that's
Okay.
what I'm trying to focus on in like dance history, because when I'm always in LA or always having to do these like jobs and be on set all day, I don't really get the time to go back to basics. And now that's what I'm doing because I feel like it's so important for my love of dance. So that's what I've been doing, training over Skype. My sister, I have a little sister, she's very into like fitness, so she's been helping me stay
Okay.
motivated to go.
There
And
we
yeah,
go.
of course, school on right now, but school, working out, a little bit of training here and there, and family.
Well, it looks like you were able to make that transition very well. I spoke to Josh briefly because you guys are so busy doing so many jobs all around the world, such a hectic schedule, and now you guys are transitioning to a very stationary life where you guys are at
Right.
home in social media. But again, you guys are very, very committed to working on your dance, working on your
Yes.
craft, and both you and Josh have huge social media followings. So my question to you will be, as you've been making that transition to the quarantine life, what's the advice you have for all your followers who are here saying that they love you in the comment section? What's your advice for those people who are also making that transition into this new quarantine lifestyle?
I know that this is like has literally turned our entire world upside down a little bit in some sense. I think it's just kind of trying to look at it as a blessing and taking the time really, I feel like, for yourself during quarantine. It's now you have the opportunity to do things that you might not have had the opportunity to do before, whether it's spend time with family, whether it's just working out, taking the time for yourself, self-care, anything like that. I think it's super important, and you can really look at quarantine as a blessing to try out these new things and to kind of accomplish things that you never would have been able to before.
That's very, very well said. You said in your previous
Thank you.
answer, you mentioned how you've been really working on, and I want to just keep this in the dance world for just a second, this question, but you've been really working on
Yes.
going back to basics. So the fundamentals, the things that never leave you.
Right.
And now you have the chance to do that. Do you want to talk a little bit about how important that is as a dancer, as a performer who does all these things? How important is it to
Yes.
stay true to the fundamentals?
I personally, in my opinion, think it's so important. I feel like learning about where what I love to do came from and where my passion came from and who gave me the opportunity to be here today, still doing what I love, I think that's so important because I feel like overall it builds the passion that you already have and it makes you be so much more appreciative of dance and everything that comes with dance, whether it's the connections you can make, the places you can see and travel to. I think for me, learning about the OGs who gave me like the life I have now makes me so happy, and it makes me feel like I want to carry on kind of their legacy and what they gave me in a way. So I feel like it's super important for all dancers to recognize the OGs and recognize the OG styles and how we have evolved today and kind of carry that respect from them on into our dance world.
Man, every answer I feel like is a little bit better than the last one. That's amazing. So you touched on how important it is for you, when you started dancing, the OGs that paved the way and your first steps into dance Can you touch on a little bit? So we saw you on NBC's World of Dance. You're this huge, social media presence with so many followers and people who are supporting you. But where did this all start? How was Taylor able to get to where she is, and why?
So my
Why did you
mom
choose
was a
these steps?
dancer for a long time. She started at the age of 18, or she Oh, I started dance when I was I started dance at the age of 3. My mom was a dancer for a long time before I figure skated. I was in sports like soccer. I didn't really click with anything, and so she decided to try dance out for me. She put me in dance at the age of 3, and I started out with tap and ballet. And then at the age of 6 is when I went into hip hop, lyrical, jazz, and everything else. And I really clicked with hip hop. I feel like I loved learning the other styles, but hip hop kind of gave me a freedom that the other styles didn't. And so I kind of gravitated more towards hip hop. And I loved performing. Still to this day, performing on stage is my favorite thing to do within dance. So I think
There we
that's what
go.
pulled me into hip hop, because I was like, oh, yes, I love being on stage doing that. And then my mentor, who is also from Alberta, he now lives in LA. His name is Alexander Chung. He's awesome. He kind
Big
of,
shout out to Alexander.
yes, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He was like, you know what, I'm going to set up a few privates with you in LA, and I want you and your mom or dad to fly down with you. And so we kind of took a risk and we flew down. I flew down with my dad. I took privates and I started making connections with these choreographers, and I found that I really, really loved the industry out there and the opportunities I was able to have out there compared to Alberta. Always loved Canada, but LA has an amazing dance industry. So from there, I found that I could do so many things, whether it was like commercials, videos on set, other performances. I really found like I felt like that was my calling, and everything I've done up to this day is just for my passion. It has nothing to do with the numbers or followers. It's my passion and the fact that I just want to inspire and spread love. So
Well, I think that's visible in what you do. I think the way you
thank you.
connect to your movement and what you do, and that honest relationship you have with your dance and your craft is the reason why people are able to connect with it at such a deep level. And
Right.
you mentioned it, so it was a family affair from the beginning. It was something that ran in your genes, but then you were able to really find yourself in dance, and
Right.
specifically hip hop. We got to give a huge shout out to Alexander Chung. He's a good,
Yes.
I know him. I've worked with him. He's very talented. You are very
Amazing.
talented, and there's a reason why you guys were able to come together and do so much good. And then you mentioned that you had this connection with hip hop, and Josh,
Right.
a couple of minutes ago, had that connection with hip hop. So how was that one of the ways that you guys were able to connect, or how were you guys able to come together and absolutely blow the stage off in NBC's World of Dance? Were you able to hear that? Did I cut out there at the end there, Taylor?
Is that right?
Yes, yes, yes. That
Okay.
was it.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, we both went to the same hip hop studio. It's called Core Dance Studio. It's actually Alexander Chung's dance studio here. It was the only all hip hop studio in Alberta from what I knew of. So we ended up being in the same group, and we trained in the same company. He was one of the younger ones as well. There were like 5 or 6 of us. So I ended up meeting him that way, and we became friends. We weren't super close, but we knew of each other and became friends just from training in the company together. And then from there, Carlo Atienza, he's also amazing. He was our choreographer on World of Dance. He kind of brought us together to create this video called Bad Teacher. It's really funny. It was an awesome experience because that was the first time I really got close with Josh. And from there it went a little bit viral, and we were like, you know what, let's keep going with this. Like, people really enjoy this, and we love to make people happy and spread like what we love to do, so why not? And then we became friends, like best friends. Now he's like my older brother. We would hang out all the time, and then World of I can do with him.
Well, you guys definitely did do it. You guys went onto that stage, and every single round, you guys absolutely delivered. I told Josh, I'll tell you, both gentlemen and myself were watching and rooting for you guys from the get-go, and you guys absolutely made Canada proud with every single performance you guys were able to do.
And you killed it. You guys were, still to this day, I'm like, I could never. I don't know how you guys did it, but you guys were amazing.
Appreciate it. Again, it's the same thing. It's hard work, it's dedication, it's really connecting
Right.
with your craft. Now, you guys were
For
able to
sure.
go in onto that stage and command so much attention, and your musicality, your precision were beautiful to watch. Now,
Thank you.
give me a little bit of Josh mentioned the chair, when he had to slip through that chair in the duels round, or I think it was in a different round. Give me, what was the biggest challenge you guys had in that season? Because I know it's high stakes and it's high rewards.
Paying off in the end, for sure.
It just you what happened there was essentially it was like the best body roll ever. It went in, out, and around. So we got a little snippet of that. Are you able to just articulate that one more time in just in what was the what was really that biggest challenge there? It looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty here with Taylor. Taylor, do you hear me? Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what happened.
No problem at all. Of course. I was saying it was like a wave. We heard you a little bit, then you went out, then back in. Could you tell
Oh,
that one more time? I really wanted to know. Just you were talking
of
about how it was
course.
pushing yourselves and so forth. Can you touch on that one more
Yes,
time?
of course. So yeah, I think honestly the biggest challenge within World of Dance was just that we were constantly pushed. We wanted to present something different to the judges every time, but also represent ourselves in the best way possible. So I think it was just like constantly trying to step outside of our comfort zones and give them the best of our abilities. So I think that was the biggest challenge, but in the end, it was so worth it because we were able to kind of do things we never thought we could do in the first place.
You guys did it. You guys won away every single time. And
Thank you.
one thing I wanted to ask was just your advice, because in that it's a high
Yeah,
pressure moment, right? Because you
for
have to
sure.
balance. You want to be true to yourself. You want to do something new, but you only have one chance on that stage to really show the judges. So when you're in that
Right.
high pressure situation, what's some advice you can give to people who want to go do that and who want to sort of follow in your footsteps?
I think honestly, confidence is key, and knowing where to kind of distribute that anxiety that you get before going on stage or before performing in any case, where to distribute that in a positive way. I think that for me, I use that little bit of like anxiousness and nerves as more of a motivator than something like that makes me doubt myself. And obviously, that doesn't happen overnight. It takes like a while to get in the routine or the habit of thinking that way, but it works, I promise you.
It looks like I'm losing you there a little bit again, Taylor. Every single time she's about to make the best point, and as the more engaged I get, it just slips out just a little bit. But she'll be back in just a minute. And the thing we're really talking about is, when you're in those high performance situations, when at the end of the day. Oh, it looks like Taylor just jumped out there for a second. We're gonna take about a minute or two, and let's just see if Taylor's able to come back. You guys, if you have any questions at all, if you have any final questions you want me to ask Taylor, please, now is the time. Put them in the comment section below. That way I can choose one and ask it, because again, she's been having some fantastic answers. So again, one thing we were really talking about right there was just how do you perform under pressure? And I think Taylor's going to jump on right now and be able to give us that answer. She's going to be able to give us that answer in those movies. It's just how when you think everything is going to go wrong, how do you make it go right? And it takes a lot. Hey, Taylor.
Finally, hello.
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry about that.
Clear. I hear you great, and you're in the middle of an amazing point yet again. So in those high pressure situations,
yes.
how are you able to make things go the way they need to, and what's your strategy and advice for that younger generation following in your footsteps?
I think for me, I still to this day, every single performance, everything I do, I always get that little bit of nerves. But it's all about the mindset. For me, I use those nerves kind of to motivate me within my routine or whatever I'm doing. It's more of like, okay, like use this. This is my energy right here. Any anxiousness or nerves I feel, this is my energy that's going to help me either push through the routine or stop doubting myself. I think also it's just about being confident. You have to be confident in yourself and be like, I've done this. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to be okay. And I'm honestly, whatever happens at the end of the day happens. As long as you go out there and put your best foot forward, I think that's all you can do. So it's just about keeping that very positive mindset and kind of just using that nervousness as good energy.
I think you said it very well. It of course starts from the head down, but it really has to do with how prepared you are, both in practicing and knowing everything. So you're not thinking about it while you're on the stage. You know what you need to do. You're just performing it. And the second thing is, it depends on how many times you perform. Of course, the more times you perform, the more times you've done it, you're more used to it, right? So once you've performed and you go out there and you put yourself out there, then it starts losing that impact, though it never goes away. I'm nervous before, because I put a lot of pressure on myself, both to execute the dance and to keep my partner alive every now and then, for the most part. But it never goes away. But it's how you learn to adapt to it and how to do it and how to commit to actually executing it. So you gave a lot of great answers. Again, we were able to find out a little bit about what makes Taylor Taylor. How did Taylor become this person who she is? And when you guys first met Josh, you had a great first video, went viral. You guys went on NBC World of Dance, absolutely crushed it, and you made Canada proud through and through. And now individuals are following you and talking to you. My last question to you, Taylor, before I let you go, is moving forward now, what are your goals? You've already accomplished so much. You're already relatively young. Even though you're mature, you're young, and there's so much life in front of you. What are some future goals and some future aspirations you want to go from here forward?
I think about this all the time. It's constantly like, what do I want to do from here? I think I love teaching. I love being able to teach from like a student perspective, because I'm still like constantly taking class, and also takes like some stuff from taking class and apply it to my teaching. I love the fact that I can do that, and I love the fact that I'm able to travel, and teaching gives me those opportunities to travel. So I am planning on going to a lot of new places with teaching. Hopefully, I was supposed to go to Peru. That's going to get postponed. And Brazil will be coming up soon as well. I'm super excited, as soon as everything's obviously safe. And then from there, I've been taking the time at home to also take acting classes over Skype, and to kind of privately work with my acting teacher and read scripts, because I would love to start doing that more and kind of explore more into acting as well as modeling. I've done a few magazine shoots here and there, but I'd really like to kind of go down those two routes as well, because they're both very creative and similar to dance. So I'm planning on teaching lots internationally, getting more into acting, and a little bit of modeling. So I think those are like my big goals right now.
That's a huge handful. I know for Jenna and myself, we really want, and we're very, teaching is the thing that gives me the most. Like when I
Yes,
teach
I
someone,
agree.
it gives me everything. And for us, what
Fulfilling,
we want
yeah.
to do, we want people to be able to connect with their pieces on an artistic level. So
Mm,
not just copying movements or tricks, but how do you find a way to connect it and make it your own?
right.
That's
I
going to be
love
the
that.
one where you can separate yourself from the crowd, because everyone can do a move, but nobody can do it like you, Taylor, because no one is you and has been through what you've been through. And
Right,
of course, for us, we're very, very committed to teaching people how to do these lifts and tricks with the right technique and in a safe way, because it's actually not as difficult as it seems, but you
right,
need to know the same way, like to do a hip hop choreo to the complexity you do. There are certain fundamentals and certain things you need to know, or else you're not going to be able to do it. So the
right.
last thing I want to ask is, for all these people who are listening and
Yes.
watching right now, what's your last piece of advice as they go through this quarantine and hopefully come out better and stronger?
Whew. I would say, honestly, something that I've always told myself is that no matter what anybody tells you, no matter what anybody else thinks, I think that you should always just be yourself because you have a purpose. You were made for a reason. You have something to share. And even if it doesn't feel like it, I know for a fact that everyone has something to share. Everyone can teach me something. I can always teach someone else something. So I think it's super important that, especially if you're working in like an industry, especially like the dance industry too, you get told no a lot,
Oh yeah.
especially if you're constantly auditioning. So I think it's just being confident in in who you are and embracing yourself like fully. I think so yeah, I think just being you. Honestly, it's a really good thing to try to practice and I remind myself of it all the time.
Well, I don't know if I could have said that any better
Thank
myself,
you.
Taylor. Thank you so much for being a huge part of this episode of Pass the Mic, the Canadian edition. The Canadian
Hey!
edition. And thank you for your insight, for your stories, and for your inspiration here for all of our people who are watching right now, and for myself to be able to go out and try to come out of this quarantine as best we can. So thank you so much for joining, and hopefully we're able to connect and work again soon.
I would love that. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. All right, talk soon, Taylor.
Talk soon. Bye.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for watching, for tuning in, for commenting, for sending in your likes and your questions. And I want to thank our special guests, both Josh and Taylor, for giving us their insight and giving us their perspective on, how did they become where they are? What is their advice for all of us who are working up to that? And also, what are their future plans? So big thank you goes out not only to Josh and Taylor, but to World of Dance for this incredible platform and for giving dancers the ability to share themselves and their truest artistic integrity with the world. Now, with that, I want to thank you for tuning in to this special episode of Pass the Mic. And please do not forget that World of Dance will be coming back live with the World of Dance Championship starting off on July 11th in Anaheim at the House of Blues Theater, presented by Paul Mitchell. And don't forget that NBC's World of Dance is coming back May 26th on NBC. With that, I'm your host, Luca Wolf. Thank you very much for listening, and this is Pass the Mic.